Hey y'all, it's Miss Kane. Today we are going to be talking about realism in sculpture and creating a project for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo contest. So before we get started on this project, we need to talk about composition. Composition is really important in art because art isn't just about being able to accurately represent a scene. Composition basically is the arrangement of the elements of art using the principles of design. But if you create a really good composition, it can be used to intrigue the viewer and give them some insight into the story that you are trying to tell. Our featured artist was a master at telling stories through his artistic compositions. Frederick Remington was born in New York in 1861. He was a painter, illustrator, and sculptor who specialized in depictions of the western United States in the last quarter of the 19th century. Some of his paintings were even used on postage stamps beginning in 1898. As far as sculpting goes, he was self-taught. He would build an armature and then model it with clay. He eventually had a plaster cast made and later bronze copies, much like the Rodeo Art Commission does to the winning sculptures. Speaking of rodeo, let's look at some of the winners over the last few years. I like to start by thinking of an idea first and sketching it out before I start searching for my reference material. Now that we've sorted our reference materials, it's time to start working. Here are some tools that you will need to do the project. There are several ways that you can build an armature. One of them is by starting with sort of a stick figure and building it up with aluminum foil. The other one is the way I do it, which is sort of by building up the armature, doing some wire wrapping and looping. Now it's time to start adding the main areas of mass to your sculpture with the Plasticine Clay. You may find it difficult at first, but using these tips and some good old-fashioned muscle, you'll be able to get through it. As you can see, at this point, you're just trying to get the clay onto the armature. This is where you really want to work on the position of the limbs, the proportion of the face, the structure, just making sure everything looks right and that the positioning and proportioning is correct. Remember, we always work general to specific, so we'll be getting more into the small details and texture in the next step. Polymer clay tools and even fine dental tools are great for getting down to do the tiny details. I love this clay scoring tool to create the texture of fur. This is where the true realism comes in, when you start adding those little details. Select a wooden base and drill a hole for your wire to attach your project to the base. Now it's time to giddy up and get to work.